All right, I'm ranting. I want to go to Watson and back to the calls. But a sneak peek, I'm going to be letting you know the real lowdown on Prometheus. They're not going to like it. And by the way, I'm a big fan of Ridley Scott as a director. He's probably the best living director after or before somebody like James Cameron. And, of course, it's all about transhumanism. It's all about replicants. It's all about humans becoming God, creating humanoids that are more advanced, more human than human, the Nexus 6. That's the religion of these folks. And some would say they really are geniuses. Yeah, the cream of the British Empire, the highest IQs, 160-plus years ago, along with their U.S. and German counterparts, envisioned DNA more than 60 years before it was discovered. And, of course, the discoverers, all eugenicists, obsessed with Star Child stuff. 2001 Space Odyssey, you know, inventor of the telecommunications satellite, high-level Illuminati Mason, Arthur C. Clarke, all of it, all of it, all of it. You are all to be killed. You are not to go through to the anointed level of the Illuminati. And those running things, if anybody is profane and shouldn't go to the next level to use their own system, it's them. They think they're enlightened. They're not. They are not illuminated. They are illuminated with a counterfeit, a black sunshine. This is black sunshine. Let he who hath ears, let him hear. Woe to those who have eyes and cannot see, and ears and cannot hear. Watson, I just always love having you pop in. Finish up with the total control grid being announced to the slaves now, that it's pretty much in place. The torture, the secret arrest, the UN running everything. It's all being announced. Scientific American, effective world government will be needed to stave off climate catastrophe. That's Club of Rome, standard garbage. That's just for the profane outsiders. Inner workings are. It's public, not publicized. It's public. It's there, but not pushed. That means kill everybody to save the earth. Meanwhile, these people are engaging in experiments that are probably going to destroy the earth. That's the deception. That's why you can only see the black sunshine. You cannot see the full spectrum. That's why you're blind, those of you that serve this evil. If you had any discernment and any will and any connection to the creator of the universe, the real creator, you wouldn't be serving the abomination creation. You wouldn't be serving the engineers that you believe you're following and making movies about it. If you understood truly what you've turned loose and what you're doing. Going back to Watson. Watson, what do you think of the fact that they're just announcing world government is the answer to everything right now? Announcing all the spying. I mean, why are they just throwing this all out in the open right now? And then I want to get into the blast going off in Wisconsin.
Because people don't read books anymore. They don't read the news. They read 140-character blurbs about Justin Bieber. So who are they announcing it to? They're not even paying attention anymore, so who cares? They're just announcing it to us and saying we're in control, basically, while all the rest of the people are off in la-la land.
But the globalists aren't in control. They think they're in control. They're not in control.
Yeah, but it's about them telling us that they're in control, so we bow down to their authority.
Exactly. They'd rather try to dominate their own species instead of actually being in control of themselves.
Well, yeah, but people who choose to ignore it deliberately deserve everything they get. It's only the people who are aware of it who deserve to have some kind of free choice and some quality of life.
But that's why we're all targeted by the globalists. They're harassing the Amish, the preppers. Anybody who doesn't want to be part of this liquid death is the enemy.
Well, yeah, that's why they've characterized us all as terrorists. They've got the FBI putting tracking cookies on people who visit prepper websites, which then follow them around the web everywhere else they go. So people who do care, there are very simple and easy ways to avoid this. The primary one is to get a subscription, which is not expensive, to technology that simply hides your IP address, and if you're in Britain, you can pretend you're in Texas, and if you're in Texas, you can pretend you're anywhere else. I mean, that's what I have to do when I go to China, because Facebook, everything that I use, YouTube, is blocked, so I have to pretend that I'm in Houston, and they're none the wiser, and that's completely legal, and anyone can do it. So the people who do care about privacy, that's what they need to do.
Well, that's right. All over the world, our YouTube videos specifically are blocked, and people send me screenshots, it's been in the news, that they can't see my videos in many cases in Eastern Europe or in Australia or in China or in other areas, but they could see everything else that's on YouTube. And then I try to watch stuff in Australia, and it tells me I can't see it because I'm in the U.S., and I've got to go use a proxy if I want to be able to go over there and see that. I mean, this is incredible. This is already being put into place. They don't want us sharing info. See, a show like this can take stories in Africa or stories in North America and can show you a regional story that you're not meant to see in the other part of the world, because they don't want us seeing the continuity of agenda, Paul.
Oh, but I mean, the problem is most of our we get, if you put out a YouTube video, it could get 500,000 views and it could get 50,000 comments, whereas even articles on our own website, you know, a popular article will probably get 300 comments. So all our traffic is shifting over to them, because that's where the matrix is. That's where everybody's got their accounts, is with YouTube and Google. Of course, Google owns YouTube.
And people say, well, why are we there? Because that's the battle zone. And, of course, InfoWars and Prisonplanet are getting more traffic than ever. But, yes, there's a larger community there on YouTube or on a Facebook or a Twitter. So, yeah, we'll get thousands of comments on our Facebook and our Twitter areas. And then, you know, our biggest articles, maybe 1,000 comments. And, again, it just shows exactly what you're talking about.
But it shows that you need to interact with the matrix to have any kind of effect on it. I mean, you can go out and live your life without the internet and without modern technology, but you're not going to be able to change anything. Or no,
you're right. We've got to engage the matrix. We've got to 100% use its systems now. In fact, I want to talk to you off air about, I've never really tried to use hijack pop culture. I want to launch an operation, basically hijack popular culture. I want to shift into this battle mode, and I think it's going to give us a light-year jump on the enemy.
Well, you did it with that Lindsay Lohan poison video, which got hundreds of thousands of views. To a certain extent, that's what the Angelina Jolie thing was. That
reached tens of millions. But the point is, exactly, we hijack one of their petty issues to transmit to people deep in matrix control.
And we make no apologies for it, because it deserves to be hijacked, because it's absolutely meaningless.
They're hijacking our communication pathway and polluting it with garbage.
Yeah, so it's about giving them the antidote, isn't it? And that's the only way to do it, is to interact with the matrix. So, I mean, that's what Google is now. Google is the matrix. Google is the internet. You can barely use the internet without interacting with Google in some way. They're basically a CIA front. The Stratfor emails confirmed that basically they were one of the main driving forces behind the Arab Spring, behind all these fake revolutions.
Which we knew day one. I mean, Google and the NSA were in there running the whole thing. They're running Al-Qaeda. It's on record. I mean, they've got Al-Qaeda blowing up police stations in Syria, and the news calls them protesters.
Listen, they've got Al-Qaeda giving speeches in YouTube videos in front of huge Al-Qaeda flags with, you know, all the headgear on and everything. They've got Libyan Al-Qaeda desecrating Christian graves. But, you know, but
they're banning our videos. They're banning our videos.
Oh, yeah, Al-Qaeda can have all the videos they want, but God forbid should you put out a video about the TSA, it gets age restricted for no reason. Or the numerous other examples where videos disappear. Now they've got copyright infringement and all this stuff. You know, you got harassed for holding up a newspaper headline. It's ridiculous. But as I said, that's where all the traffic is, so that's where you have to go to wake people up.
And that's why I filed in court quietly 4 times on people that make false claims to see how they like federal court. That's why they don't mess with us that much anymore. Now it's the government demanding our videos be taken down because we're hurting them. Now, briefly, Paul, and I appreciate the great job you've done. I'm begging you to do that big boil-down bullet point article. Sarkozy saying arrest people that visit conspiracy sites. Kurt Nemo's got an article on that at Infowars.com. Briefly, your report's up at Drudge. The government's saying now it's in 2 towns. These big booms being now recorded, they say, are earthquakes. The public isn't buying it, Paul. Tell us about residents skeptical of mini-quakes explanation for Clintonville booms.
Well, the USGS came out and said there was a mini earthquake on Tuesday, which was a 1.5 on the Richter scale, which would only be, even if it was felt, they have these routinely in California, nobody even feels them. Even if it was felt, it would be people within a 5-mile zone of it. And yet people 80 miles away in a different town heard the same thing. So they're saying an earthquake that happened on Tuesday caused all these reports of booms, which were reported the previous Sunday night. So how can that be even possible in the first place? And then people 80 miles away hear it as well. Nobody's buying it in this town of Clintonville, but the local city officials have just said, yeah, that's it, case solved. All the equipment that was going to find the epicenter of it's been sent back. They're not going to do any more tests. And even professors at the local universities have come out and said that this earthquake that they suddenly found, which nobody knew had happened until there was this big controversy that they needed to explain away. Even this explanation just doesn't add up. So the mystery continues, and all the residents there are very skeptical about the official explanation.
Well, people can read all that at Infowars.com and Prisonplanet.com's residents skeptical of mini-quake explanation. Well, they don't believe their government? They're all conspiracy theorists? Have the Southern Poverty Law Center put them on a hate list. I mean, they're questioning. I mean, this is un-American. I mean, Petraeus, watch them. All right, here's what's coming up. Number 1, your phone calls. The toll-free number to join us is 800-259-9231. First-time callers on this Friday. I'm going to do first-time callers today. 800-259-9231. Love to hear from you. And I want to get into this Toulouse shooting. I'd give it about a 90% chance it was purely government staged. Maybe 1% chance it was purely a lone nut who they weren't helping. I mean, they admit they were tracking him for years. People warned him. He went to this Al-Qaeda training deal, but he's a lone actor like all these guys are. And then I predicted they'd blow him up in an apartment, just like in Madrid with the bombings back in 2003, which turned out to be staged. The government got thrown out in Spain over it. And the police went and just blew up some patsies in an apartment. And, oh, case closed. It turned out federal anti-terror police have been seen planting the bombs on the trains. So this stuff goes on. Obviously, it's in Europe, it's Operation Gladio, basically revisited. And now Sarkozy has gone ahead of the nationalist Le Pen, the daughter of Le Pen, who almost won years ago. And they do not like that because they are actually for France and aren't globalist and want out of the EU. And that's just not going to be allowed. Even the socialist, I'm not saying Dominique Strauss-Kahn's good. He's a Bilderberg globalist. He said, don't ruin our